Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I guess you can hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Um, so I'm Walter Barta and
Nice to meet you, Christian.
Christian.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And am I correct that we're going to be talking about chapter 9 or or I forgot what we discussed.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
That's it. About the prime facial duty.
Yeah. So all right. You have any questions for me before we get started?
Well, I was wonder exactly what was that about, but then I started like watching some more YouTube videos, and I can like understand what it's all about. But my concern is that is based pretty much on how would affect others, like how my decisions or the decisions that I take is gonna affect the others more than it would affect me.
Okay. That sounds like some kind of altruism. Do you remember altruism from a previous chapter?
Yes.
So altruism is like a attempting to help others, contrasted with egoism, which is like trying to help yourself, right?
Okay.
Um, so are you asking whether the ethic of prima facie duties has to do with altruism? Is that what you're
No,
asking?
I was so no. My question is, oh well, not my question, but my concern, like trying to understand those duties. So those duties are pretty much based on how am I gonna treat others or how my decision making is gonna affect others, or if instead of taking a decision thinking about me, I should think first how they're gonna affect others, or yes, pretty much that.
Um, so they could be considerations of others. Let's let's have a look at what might be some of the duties listed. So I know that there's
There's seven, right?
yeah,
From
so
the room.
towards the beginning of the chapter, in my book it's on 130, page 130. Um there are seven prima facie duties identified, right? Um so if you look at number 5, that one is the duty of beneficence, and that one is enhancing the intelligence, virtue, or pleasure of others. So that it sounds like you're talking about the duty of beneficence, which is one of the seven duties identified here. And of course,
Okay.
there could be more duties, right? The it says that these seven aren't exhaustive, so there could be more than that. If you look at number 6, the number 6 is actually self improvement, so making oneself more intelligent or virtuous. So those are both duties, but there are also more than that, right? The idea of the prima facie duties is that there are potentially lots of duties that we have. Does that make sense?
Potential what? Sorry, I didn't get that.
There are potentially lots of duties that we have.
Oh, yes.
These seven, but maybe even more than these seven. Yeah. What do you think? Is that responding to your question at all?
Um, it's just that I believe that um the way how you are going to treat others is a reflection of how you treat yourself.
Okay.
right? So instead of focusing on my duties with others, I would focus on my duties with myself, and therefore it will be an expansion of, oh, and how I'm gonna treat others is gonna be an expansion of it.
Okay, maybe. Um, so you could be a you could be somebody who you treat yourself well and treat others well too. Um,
Mhm.
and how you treat yourself ends up being how you treat others. You might apply something like the golden rule that we talked about in a previous chapter, where it's like, well, I want to treat others like I treat myself. So that's like a golden rule type application, a golden rule type principle. You also, it's possible you could be a total narcissist too, right? Where you treat yourself well only and you don't treat others well.
Mhm.
That's possible, right? It and
Yeah.
it might also, it may be possible too that you're self-sacrificial, like you treat others well but you actually treat yourself really poorly.
Yes.
So those are, so it sounds like you favor something golden rule like, where you treat yourself and others well, as an
Also,
extension.
for to be part of a community or to a social group, you have to follow some kind of rules as well, because there are boundaries, and you might find something as normal for yourself, but then when it becomes to treat others or when involves somebody else, that could be not that normal.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So those are the pretty much, I would say, that the duties or the uh, right things to do. Of course, trying to blend or try to um, bring those rights and duties to my life as well.
okay. It also, it kind of sounds like you're talking about social contract theory a little bit too, because you're talking about what you have to do to be, what you have to agree to be part of a functioning society. It kind of sounds like
So
you're
probably it is where I'm confused at, about the duties. So duties with who?
a good question. So, um, the implication I think of the this particular chapter with these prima facie duties, it's not as if you have duties to a particular person like a contract.
Okay.
It's not necessarily like that. It's closer to the Kantian chapter where we talked about duties that you're just supposed to do. Like the duties are, as we put them, categorical in that they're not for anyone or anything. They're just duties that we have, categorically, meaning like that they are something that we, in themselves are duties. So like a rule that isn't necessarily, it's not a rule like in the same way that a law is a rule. It's a duty that we sort of like find to be a duty, in a more intuitive, intrinsic way, if that makes sense. So these are, so the it's a good question though, because the philosopher that they're talking a lot about in this chapter, Ross, W.D. Ross. So he thinks that we intuit these duties from our common sense. So we look at what would an average person just working with common sense, what do they think their duties would end up being? And we try to figure out what our duties are based on what a lot of people have the intuition that our duties are, if that makes sense.
That's why I was mentioned, or I was saying that it looks like they are more focused on how I treat other people, or not how I treat them, but um, how much priority I give them on my behavior, or on my decision making.
Okay. Well, so we talked about that a little. So let's move to some specific questions. So the idea of prima facie duties, this idea, generally speaking, that we have all these different duties. Sometimes certain duties win over other duties. Certain duties lose over other duties. But we have all these duties. Is that an idea that you think? Is that an idea that you think makes sense to you? And if you do, what do you think is like the best argument for it? Or or if it doesn't make much sense to you, what do you think is the best argument against it? What do you think?
Oof. Um, well, yes, of course, there might be some. As human beings, we always prioritize stuff, like take on consideration, or trying to um, address problems as we give them importance.
Okay.
So yes, they might be a crossover prioritization on some of the duties.
So you're saying something like human beings are always trying to prioritize stuff, um, and you think that that supports the idea of prima facie duties?
Oh, okay, got it. Well, no, on that idea, but on the idea that um, those, I mean, we're gonna find situations that we have to prioritize one or the other. Depends on the duties. Oh, well, based on the duties that on the seven list duties. But to be honest with you, I think that well, no, I mean, anyways, if we do it like thinking on the duties I have to do, or that I have to have with others, or if I think that they might be duties I have to have with myself, anyways, they are gonna be duties that they have to be done, right?
Um, so there are duties that have to be done, but the special thing I think about the prima facie duties is that with the idea is that we're acknowledging that sometimes the duties can conflict with each other, and
Mm-hmm.
and so sometimes you have to choose which duty you're going to fulfill and which one you're going to discard. Can you think of just examples from that of that from your own life, just where you felt
Yeah,
two duties and they conflict and you had to decide?
yeah, pretty much. Well, I'm not sure if this could fall into it, but let's say and disagreement that happen pretty much often in my job, where the idea of my bosses isn't, I'm not agree with it, but still I have to follow it, and then I have to remain pretty much quiet even if I don't agree with it, just because she's my boss,
Yeah.
and I had to respect. her opinion or her way to do the things.
Yeah. So what duties do you think are conflicting there? What would you call that duty to your boss?
Um, Fidelism or loyalty,
Loyalty?
is it one of them? Yes.
And what would you call that duty to yourself, to like to your own beliefs?
Mm, I would say beneficent. I mean, if I follow what she does, what she says,
So beneficence. So you think that you're having to choose between loyalty and beneficence?
yes, because probably the way
Sometimes.
how I think or the way how I see things or the way how I was thinking about to do something, it would be a lot easier for the staff to do than the way she wanted.
Okay, we could call that like efficiency, maybe. Loyalty
Okay.
versus
Yeah.
efficiency.
Sure. Yeah.
Or
That's
what about the word there's also authenticity. What do you think of that? Authenticity. Like being true to yourself?
um. Oof. Well, I am being true to myself because I express my opinion about it, but
Okay.
still I gotta follow what she wants.
Sure, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah,
But
so
in this case, yeah, it could be that like prioritizing respect and loyalty to over altruism.
yeah. Yeah, you said respect as well. We can put that. Yeah, so that's a good example. What did you say your job was again, and maybe your major for that matter?
Oh no! Right now, I work in a restaurant as supervisor.
Okay.
Yes, and my major is petrochemical process technology.
Okay. Yeah. What can you think of something that might come up in process technology that could be a similar conflict of duties?
Oh yes, of course. Pretty much the same thing. Or let's say somebody is not doing his job or her job as it should be, and instead of approaching him or talking to him or communicate the right way with my supervisor or the person who is on top of me, I just go and do it myself. Which could lead me to trouble because if I make something or I take a decision or I do something that shouldn't be done or is not done the right way, it could end up giving me a lot of trouble
Okay. What
because
yeah, go on.
yeah, because I was trying to just don't follow the right procedures. Maybe because I was just um, I don't know. I just didn't want to get into a conversation or a discussion.
Okay. What do you think that there are specific duties conflicting there? What do you think the duties would be in that case?
Mm, I would say about the same, no? Like loyalty, respect to my coworker,
Oh, okay.
and then yes, and then efficiency maybe if trying to solve problems on my
Try,
own.
trying to complete the job or something like that.
Complete the job. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Um, one that I think of in specifically in process tech, I think uh, could be. What do you think of this one? Let's say the boss asks you to um, to not follow the rules because the boss wants to save some money for the facility.
Okay. Yes.
Do you
So
think
that would be loyalty and authenticity.
authenticity?
Yes. Because if I agree with him, I would be I wouldn't be authentic to myself. I wouldn't have like my work, or I wouldn't be doing the right thing. So I wouldn't be completing my duties in that job just because somebody like so because my supervisor asked me for it.
Okay.
So instead of going for what I think is right, I'm going for what he asked me to do.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking this kind of thing might happen um, quite frequently at jobs where you have as an employee you have some kind of loyalty to the company making money, right? So you have like the profit of the company is one duty that you're trying to uphold, but then there's like alternative kinds of duties like like safety, for example. So like doing something unsafely may be cheaper because you don't have to spend all that money on safety, uh, or doing something in a way that like pollutes the environment or something. That may be the cheap way to do it, but there may be. So you may find yourself like having to decide which of those duties to follow. Do you go for the profit or do you go for the safety? Um, which in any given case like that, how do you think people make those kinds of decisions between different duties? What would
Well,
you think of?
it's really tough, speaking probably for somebody else, but for from myself, I would say that I will go for what is safer for everybody and for
Okay.
myself. Yes, because anyways, the plan or the company has to spend money on safety regulations, and if they do, why we don't take advantage of it, or why we just gonna skip it just for say a couple of dollars that is gonna be worth probably a life or my own life or life or any other or somebody else's life.
Yeah.
So that was my approach.
Do you think that do you think it ever goes the other way where
Oh yes, many times. So there might be some people that they are gonna prioritize money making, and if they follow what their boss asks them to do, they will get probably more overtime or more hours or a rise on their salary, and they will go for it.
yeah. Do you think they're ever right when they prioritize money that way?
If they are right or no, I mean, it's their decision. Like you do what it best fits your values and beliefs. And if they go with what you want, I mean, it's their decision. I mean, I couldn't change it. Or I cannot control that. So it's not right or wrong um, as far as it works for you.
Um well, so we certainly so you're right that different people have different opinions about that kind of thing, right?
Yes.
That's undoubtedly true. Um, but it's another question like do we
Like
think
yes,
everybody's equally right? What were you
equally
saying?
right.
Yeah,
Well,
do
in
like
this environment, of course, there are some procedures that you have as a operator that you have to follow, and if you're not doing it, of course, it's wrong. Because I mean, there are policies, there are step by steps that you gotta follow, and like I said before, procedures that you have to do one by one, and if you don't do it, I mean, it's gonna yeah bring bad consequences, which is and then I would say yes, it's wrong to not do it.
okay. So you just mentioned consequences. That that brings us back to the chapter, I think it's chapter 5 on consequences. Um so do you think do you suspect that consequences would be a good way to resolve these kinds of conflicts and duties? Is that where your mind turns to first?
Well, I think that if there are some prescribed procedures, is because experience might be involved as well. So there might be troubles, or there might be incidents or accidents that might happen. That's why they came up with these procedures, or a way to do stuff, or a way to address any kind of problem at the facility. So and that's why they are there, to avoid or to prevent any kind of injury, or any problem with the equipments, right? So, what was the question again? Sorry.
No, yeah, you're answering the question. I'm so my curiosity was in these cases of conflicts of duties, do we need to look at the consequences to resolve those conflicts of duties? And it sounds like you think that the duties were there in the first place because we're trying to avoid bad consequences, and that's why we put the rules there to follow. Um,
Yes.
so yeah,
Uh, I I think yeah. I guess I think it that way. Yeah.
okay, that makes you a little more of a consequentialist then. You're appealing not to the duties but to the consequences taking those actions will result in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Okay. Well, so I don't want to keep you much longer because we it's just one on one, so we don't have to go that much longer. Did you have any concluding questions for me before we sign off?
No, no. I think you helped me out to clarify all my concerns and doubts that I had between it, and gave me a really nice example on how those facial duties could apply. And
Okay. All right, Christian. Did you sign up for your next week or whichever problem you signed up for?
no, no, I haven't done it. I need to get that done. This I just had some troubles with my computer, so I need to get that fixed, or get another one, or loan another one, or borrow one. But that's about it.
Sure, sure. Okay. Well, I will see you at the next session, whenever that
All right.
may be. So, have a good day.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a nice day.